Minute by minute, day by day, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS are getting closer and closer to officially completing their takeover of Manchester United. And in my opinion, there is one main thing that they need to focus on when trying to build a squad for the next 5 or 6 years. Young, hungry players who are versatile, technical, and can play in several different systems. Fortunately, we already have 3 of the best for that criteria. Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Hojlund, our trio of excellent golden stars. Now, whilst these 3 are of course all incredibly talented, building a squad around them isn't as easy as that. So what I want to do today is 2 main things. First of all, discuss why we need to build around these 3 for the next decade, and then also look at some players which could potentially benefit these guys in the future. Basically helping INEOS and Sir Jim Ratcliffe to rebuild this football club into a side which can dominate for years to come.
So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off when you order.
We'll start off with Kobbie Mainoo in midfield, and that will come as absolutely no surprise to you guys. You guys know that I absolutely love Kobbie Mainoo, and for me he is a player which Manchester United simply have to build around. Why? Well, because he ticks a lot of the boxes which I stated right at the start of the video. He's strong, he's physical, he's tenacious, he works hard, but then technically he is incredibly good on the ball and he can play in several different systems. But more than that, what does he actually bring to the team? Well, press resistance in the first phase, the ability to receive the ball with his back to goal and help his team get out of pressure. On top of that, ball carrying, allowing him to stride forward into big open spaces to progress the ball for his side, but also dribbling, taking the ball in tighter spaces, wriggling past players and getting into the final third. Importantly, he also has excellent football IQ, composure, temperament, real understanding of the game, and an ability to completely dictate the tempo of a football match. Now, yes, we haven't seen that side of his game massively since he broke into the first team, but if he was given the right surrounding around him, he could definitely become that sort of player. And in my opinion, he is the sort of footballer who could save you around £100 million as a football club, which is really going to help INEOS rebuild the squad elsewhere. Why does he save the club that much money? Well, look at what Frankie de Jong would cost, Enzo Fernandez, players who are perhaps of a similar position. They cost an incredible amount of money. Kobbie Mainoo is literally the complete perfect package in terms of the profile of what he is as a footballer. Now, of course, we have to wait and see actually how he develops, but in terms of his ceiling, he can do everything you would want him to do. He's taller than we all thought he was going to be, he's stronger, he's physical, he's really battling in the duels, and he's very good from a defensive point of view. On the ball, of course, he has that IQ which I was just talking about, but then technical quality as well. The ability to pass a ball, carry a ball, move past players, and apparently even score goals in the final third, which is incredibly useful. However, whilst he is a great talent, like any player, he needs the right players and the right squad around him to really help him thrive. So my question is, who should INEOS bring in order to really help Kobbie Mainoo over the next 10 years to really dominate? Now, for me, the profile needed alongside Kobbie Mainoo is fairly straightforward. In my opinion, it should be another player who is fairly young, probably around 22 to 23 years old. A little bit more experienced than Kobbie Mainoo, but still with plenty of years ahead of them. In terms of what they need to bring on the football pitch, they need to be tall, strong, excellent players at covering ground. Basically, allowing Kobbie Mainoo to express himself more on the ball, whilst this other new player does some more of the defensive work. And of course, pair that with Kobbie's ability to defend, and you get yourself an excellent midfield duo for the foreseeable future. What else does that player need to have though? Defensive awareness. This isn't just about size and being strong, they need to cover ground, but of course, be aware, be intelligent, and that applies on the ball as well. They need to be comfortable in possession, able to receive the ball in the first phase, move the ball on, be a good passer, and also, in my opinion, a good ball carrier. Kobbie Mainoo is someone who at times plays as an 8, but sometimes as a 6. If we pair that with someone who does something similar, you have a nice real understanding. Someone drops deep, the other one pushes forward. Now the other one pushes forward, so the other guy drops deep. That is the sort of understanding which Manchester United should be looking for. And there are actually a couple of players currently on the market who tick those sort of boxes, Amadou Onana or Mats Vifer. Those are the sorts of players which INEOS should be targeting. In my opinion, we need to steer clear of the likes of Andre, but also João Neves. They are too similar to what Kobbie Mainoo wants to do. Having 2 players who are the same profile in midfield simply isn't what we need. Perhaps a backup to Kobbie Mainoo, but in my opinion, he is the star of the team for the future. so we mustn't stunt his development. Instead, get someone alongside him who complements him, like we've just discussed, and trust me, you have a real star on your hands for the next decade, maybe even longer. Alejandro Garnacho is the next player which this football club needs to build around. Why? Well, because he ticks a lot of the boxes which we said right at the start of the video. He's young, he fights for the badge, he works hard, he covers a lot of ground, he's very versatile on the ball, and of course, importantly, technical. You know, he's a real talent. And realistically, once again, you're saving yourself 50 to 60 million pounds. Why is that? Well, because Garnacho is an excellent young profile. Because he is a two-way winger, something which not actually many wingers in the world can brag. But we've seen Garnacho in recent weeks. He can play on the left-hand side, cut inside onto his right foot. He can play on the left-hand side and go outside on his left and put a cross into the box. And he can do the same from the right-hand side, run down the line and cross with his stronger right foot, or move inside and use his left foot to shoot at goal. He can be someone who is aggressive with his dribbling out wide, or he can be someone who looks to come inside and combine with players. And of course, we've seen he does have decent end product in the final third. Now, of course, that's where he needs to improve. But this is an incredibly young player, you know. He's a very, very young player, very early on in his career, so it's okay that he doesn't have the end product just yet. But once again, in my opinion, he is a player which Manchester United should build around. The question is, how do you help him? In my opinion, a way in which INEOS could help Garnacho in the long term in his career is potentially look at a new number 10 coming into the club. Now, don't panic, I'm not saying this should happen this summer, but perhaps in 18 months or maybe even 30 months time, we could look at moving on Bruno Fernandes, who will be a little bit older by that point, and bringing in a new number 10. Why would this help Garnacho? Well, Garnacho, like I've said already, is a two-way winger. Someone who sometimes wants to come inside, but also sometimes go out wide. If we were to sign a new number 10, someone who is perhaps right-footed, but importantly two-footed, that is very important, but someone who can carry the ball, that would really help Garnacho. Now, you might be wondering, why is that helpful? Well, let's look at it like this. As Garnacho moves in from the right-hand side onto his left foot, let's just say he was a right winger, you need someone who can then go round him. Bruno Fernandes doesn't really have that. Whilst he is brilliantly creative and all of these things, he doesn't have running power. He works hard, but he simply isn't powerful with the way that he runs and the way that he covers ground. He's not a very good ball carrier at all. Getting a number 10 who is able to play this role would really help Garnacho and adds to the unpredictability of our attacking setup. Under whichever manager it may well be in, 3 years' time, we don't know how it's going to look, but it could happen on the other side as well. So let's say by that point Garnacho is truly a left winger. Once again, we need to sign a number 10 who can go round him. So when Garnacho comes inside, this player here needs to be someone who can, firstly, carry the ball forward to get the ball to Garnacho, but also someone who can go round Garnacho when he wishes to move inside. This player, of course, also needs to be creative in the final third, very, very effective with their end product. And again, there are players floating about who tick some of those boxes. Florian Wirtz would, of course, be the big one, a huge talent. That is the sort of player which Manchester United should be looking to bring into the club in the next, again, 24, 30, 36 months in order to really get the best out of Garnacho and, again, build that identity for the side. The third player which INEOS really need to build around to develop a legacy at the football club is Rasmus Hojlund. Why is that? Well, because as a striker, he is a unicorn-esque profile. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, that means he is a profile which is very, very difficult to find. It's a very rare profile, and the reason for that is because he is tall, strong, extremely physical, but also incredibly quick. Not only is he those things, he also has excellent intelligence with his movement in the final third, but also his ability to drop a little bit deeper, and at times link the play with his passing, a side of his game which has really developed over the past few weeks or so. Imagine how good it could be in a few years' time if it's developing already. It's truly a frightening prospect. On top of this though, importantly, like the other guys, he works incredibly hard. So he's technical, he's versatile, he covers a lot of ground, and he's a young forward. He ticks all the boxes which we want. So how do you get the right profile around him in order to really see him dominate the Premier League, again, for the next 10 years? Let's have a look. In my opinion, the best way to get more out of Rasmus Hojlund is, of course, to get better players behind him. Now, of course, we've addressed one of those positions. The number 10, someone being a ball carrier but also creative, that would help him. The other thing, though, which I feel that United need, is a versatile but also a creative winger. Now, we've got Garnacho, however, we believe he is more of a direct threat, someone who looks to attack the goal a little bit more, someone who wants to shoot at goal. What Rasmus Hojlund needs is someone who actually, by instinct, wants to create chances. So what does this player really need to be? A two-way winger, once again. Someone who can move inside onto their right foot or outside onto their left foot, or perhaps even play on the other wing, depending on the development of Garnacho. But this player needs to be a good ball carrier, a good dribbler, but again someone who can move inside, who can link the play. But their focus in the final third needs to be on creativity. Whether that be sliding through balls in behind the defence for Rasmus Hojlund to run onto, or by working the ball wide before swinging across to really make the most of Rasmus Hojlund's brilliant movement in the box. These are the things which this young winger needs to be. And of course, as I said there, young, being fairly young, 22, 23 years old, is something which INEOS should be looking to do. Are there options out there? Yes, Nico Williams, Elise, Johan Bakayoko, there's a lot of different potential players out there, depending on which side you want them to play, and of course that depends on the development of Garnacho. Now once again, this doesn't necessarily have to happen in the next 6 months, but certainly in the next 18 months, this is something which United should look to do, again to really get the best out of Rasmus Hojlund. If Sergeant Ratcliffe and INEOS are able to do these things, plus the 3 players get a little bit of luck with injury and work hard and development and things like that, then United really could be on a good path to dominate for the next decade if INEOS build the club in the right way and build the squad in the right way. This is just a start of how they should do it. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on how INEOS should build the squad, let me know in the comments down below, and also leave a like on the video, and actually subscribe to the channel, get notifications on as well, all of that good stuff. Apart from that though, we are finished for today, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. What did you make of my rebuild? Are these the sorts of players which United should be bringing into the club? Let me know what you think. Apart from that, we are finished. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.